Hi, I'm Jim.
And I'm David.
And this is the Practical Guitarist Podcast.
The podcast for people who eat, sleep, and breathe guitar.
The Practical Guitarist Podcast is brought to you by Great Lakes Guitar Pickups. Great Lakes Guitar Pickups provides fantasy tones at prices a practical guitarist will love. Featuring top-notch construction, attention to detail, and a fully custom product, if you can dream it, Great Lakes Guitar Pickups can probably build it. Follow them on Facebook at facebook.com/Great Lakes Guitar Pickups. Are you a regular listener? Why not? David here reminding you of all the ways you can participate in the Practical Guitarist Podcast. Subscribe using your chosen podcast app. Review us on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or Google Play. Find our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Practical Guitarist or on Twitter as @PracGuitarist. Support the show. Merchandise is available in our Threadless store at practicalguitaristpodcast.threadless.com and donate to us via Patreon, available at patreon.com/practicalguitarist. Reach out to us directly via email at questions@practicalguitarist.com. Hello, Jim.
Hi, David.
I promise that one of these episodes I'll let you start soon.
And it wasn't this one.
Yeah, no, I promise I will. Not this one. First off, apology to Jason Fuzzmonger. As I'm recording this episode, hopefully when you listen to it, I will have actually sent your box out. I feel so bad. I meant to send it out Saturday morning, and I got to the post office and I realized that I didn't bring anything with me, and I walked in to pick up another package that had been returned to sender. I'm not talking about why on this show. Nope. And then I turned around and I did get my packing stuff that I needed to finish though, and I brought it home, and it's been sitting in the back of my car because yesterday I went and bought flooring for my condo, and I went and picked it up today. And it took me basically the whole day to get it in the house. It's 850 or 900 pounds of vinyl plank. Like 900 pounds or something. It was enough that it took a Chevy Silverado truck down 8 inches. And, oh, good God. Jim has put a candy cane colored Fender guitar cable around his head.
2 of them.
Yeah, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Does the red and white striping improve your tone?
What Billy Corgan said about the colors of the tone?
Does anybody believe a word that comes out of Billy Corgan's mouth at this point? I mean, the guy had such a problem with Kurt Cobain that he went and he started like living with his wife or whatever you want to call her, Courtney Love.
Does it look like I have red and white dreads or something?
No, actually, it looks kind of like you're a member of the PLO. And I'm not being racist or anything, folks. I mean, it looks like a PLO outfit. Yeah.
The Palestine Liberation Organization.
So, dude, there's been a lot of stuff. This is Thanksgiving week, man. I posted in the group. I shared our gift giving episodes on Black Friday. I wanted to make sure that people had an opportunity to listen to those if they do Christmas shop on Black Friday. I'm a firm believer that Black Friday is not for people buying Christmas gifts, that it is a day for people to buy crap for themselves.
Like this crap.
Yes, like that crap you're holding in your hand right now. Those candy cane colored guitar cables from Fender that will sell like hotcakes through the
you know what's going to happen?
And then sit on the shelf for like 2 years afterwards.
The day after Christmas, people are going to pay less money than I did. It's just like that sweater that I bought.
Yeah, the stupid deal of the day for like 3 days in a row in like January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, you know?
Oh, December 26th. This crap will be on 50% off. And I'll be like, oh, now I have to buy more.
Has anybody actually bought something online on Christmas Day? Like, if you've bought something online on Christmas Day, please let us know in the group, because that sounds hilarious to me.
Yep.
You get all your Christmas stuff from your family or whatever. If you celebrate Christmas and you're like, whatever, you get your gifts, and then like you're like, oh, I didn't get that, so I'm just gonna go buy it.
I've actually done that. Like, okay, the truth is that I have done that. I get a guitar gear card or whatever in the mail, and I'm like right on Guitar Center. Oh, I want that pedal, and then it's like, oh, got to add another $100. So stupid. I am not very smart. So anyway, yeah, I got those cables. I got the sweater, and I got what else did I got? Oh, I got my kids a couple of lighters because how are you gonna?
Well, there's another thing you got too, but
So yeah, it's hanging. It's hanging behind me. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did a gig, the Blackout Wednesday gig, which I've never played a Blackout Wednesday gig. In fact, I've never actually gone to a Blackout Wednesday gig. But I will say it was a surprise. Like I did not expect it to be what it was. We had we had a decent turnout. The bar we played in, we were the first band ever to play in that bar. The bar's been open for a while. They just don't do that. Like they'll do acoustic duos and stuff, but we were a full band.
Yep.
And so there were some facility issues. I showed up, there was no power. We had to run power from next to a sink that was like by a back door.
Oh, good Lord.
I didn't come prepared because we needed gaffer tape. I didn't have any. Shame on me. So we were one of the actually the people that came to see the show actually put duct tape down for us. They had duct tape, so I can't complain. They helped us out big time. But what I actually wanted to talk about was what I played through. So I brought my little Recto cab, my Recto compact 1x12, and I actually put that on top of my Gator hard case, which is like it's basically a Pelican case, but it's made by Gator. And then on top of that, I had my cabinet, and then I had my Kemper on top of that. And I didn't even run to the PA. We didn't have enough channels on the board to support everybody, and I would have had to make sure that I had like either a TRS cable or something. And I was just like, you know what? I don't even want to mess with this. We got enough problems setting everything up tonight. I'm just gonna run like my amp straight out. And I haven't had that good of sound in probably, I mean, since I was playing as a teenager. If I was that good then, and I'm highly suspect that in retrospect that it was probably not as good as it was the other night. And it was just a straight through thing. And the profiles I was using were the Tone Junkie Triple Crown ones. I snuck those in because I'm asked to play very clean in that band. So more often than not, I'm running like a deluxe reverb, and I run it just enough that there's a little bit of gain coming out, and I don't like. If you hear me playing in isolation without the band, you'll hear it, but with the band you can't. So I can get away with it. So I can practice. I turn it down, so nobody knows. And then when we're at the gig, like I turn it up a little bit, so it's a little bit better. And I was using that, and I was using. I was going to use my fuzz. I didn't use my fuzz. And I used, I think, like the Tube Screamer model in it with the tone rolled back and pushed the amp a little bit harder. That patch was my lead patch, and it had like a 1.5 dB or a 3 dB boost on it, just so I could get over the band a little bit. And it was really weird because at the first set I played, like I could hear myself way better than the patrons could. And so a couple of people I knew in the audience were telling me, turn up. So I just kept turning up, and like throughout the night, like before it was over with, I probably had gone up 9 dB, and nobody was complaining. So I must have been doing something right. But that gig, like the playing with Old Stumpy is so funny because I wouldn't be able to do it if I couldn't do the metal thing. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but I play a lot of like Gallup triplets because it's a lot of like bluegrassy, folky type stuff, and we play it fast, and it's like you just gotta sit there and gallop all night. And I play a lot of single note stuff, which is, I always thought, that kind of thing I'd be playing a lot of chords. I might play the chords in the chorus, but a lot of the time I'm just comping because we have an acoustic guitar player and a ukulele player, and they do most of the rhythm work. So it's just me staying out of the way, locking in with the bass. And it is a little funny though. I can detect the tempo changes like really, really finely. And I tend to be like locking in a lot more, I think, than everybody else does. Cause I'll be sitting there, I'll be tapping my foot and I got it. And then I'll hear like the drums going faster or something. I'm like, wait a minute, Like, what? No, this is that. No, I'm staying the same. You guys are going faster. It's pretty clear. And that's the first time I've had that experience too, because when I was younger, we used to all change tempo together because, you get excited or whatever when you're young and you don't think about it. But now I'm to the point where it's like metronome. I just want to stay, on pace. And it's kind of funny. I have to adjust a lot, but
yeah, you get new band fever, and it just starts to, right off
the tempo. The tempos climb. Well, we played this song. It's called "Visions of Moors" from a band called the Kitchen Dwellers, and we played it. So on the record, it's probably like, it feels like it's like 150 beats per minute, 160 beats per minute, but it's definitely halftime or it's double time. It's not halftime; it's double time.
Double time.
But we were playing it probably 180 beats per minute, 185 beats per minute. Like my wrist was legit like, dude, I don't know if you can handle this. Like, you might be able to do this, you might not. We'll find out.
Yeah, when I used to practice by myself, to get ready for the band, in rehearsals we were always good to go. But if you got that new place fever, new band fever, or somebody had a little bit of whatever going, I would practice by myself at about 110 to 120% of speed, so that when I got to the gig, I could play at the pace that we were playing.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen professionals. You see recordings of bands, and they'll play at super fast speed.
Well, we rehearsed it. We rehearsed it like that too, because we were like, I don't know whether they had thought about it, but we did it. I think we ran through the song like 3 times, and I was like, by the third time we were blazing through it, and I was kind of thinking like, if we do this at the gig, like this could be all over the place. It actually worked out pretty well, but there's that song. The highlights were that I played Bertha from Grateful Dead with them, and that was good. Of course, we always play like Folsom Prison, and we play I think we played what was the song where my solo was so good, and I want to say it was like Bring a Fire. Look, and a straight country.
I love
country playing, man. And it's funny because I never thought I would be playing country music at all, and people are like, I had a guy come on to me, he's like, "You're really good at that stuff," and I'm like, "Yeah, thanks. It's the first time I've done it." Like, it's like, okay.
I never play in major keys.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing. I told you the last time we played with him, I was like, man, there was a lot of major key soloing. Like, it's like, this is weird. I don't normally do that.
Yep.
But it's a fun thing, man. Like, I'm really stretching out. I'm doing some different stuff, and if anybody's listening and you're in the Chicago area, like, keep follow us on Facebook and Old Stumpy, and I'm sure you'll see us again somewhere, and come out and see us. Like, you'll have a good time. We actually, just said we had enough people that we had over $100 in the tip jar. So yeah, I watched someone drop. I watched someone drop an unusually large sum of money, and after playing what's the stupid Jimmy Buffett song? Margaritaville.
Yep. I was going to say,
I saw somebody drop an unusually large sum of money, and after playing that song, and I'm like, it was funny because Kyle was counting the tip jar at the end, and he comes over to me, he says, "This is why we play Margaritaville," and he holds up, the money, and I'm like,
yeah.
I just shook my head. It was like, damn you.
So I'll tell you a tip story. I don't know if I've ever shared this, but I was playing, I would play the solo acoustic thing, and this couple comes in, and they're relatively young, maybe late 20s, early 30s. And they come up and say, we got married to the song, what is it, by Clapton?
Oh, yeah. The Wonderful Tonight.
Wonderful Tonight. And she goes, "Can you play Wonderful Tonight for us, please?" Sure, play Wonderful Tonight. So I play it. They dance to it. And they're a respectable couple, everything else. And he drops a 50 in the tip jar by himself. I was like, "And I will do that song 10 more times for any time you ever ask me." So, no, but I didn't say it out loud. I said thank you, and that's pretty much it. You don't want to draw a bunch of attention to your tip jar. You kind of want to keep it like not empty, but you want to keep leaving a little bit of money in it at a time.
Oh,
and always have a little bit of money in it.
I was just excited. We got a new tip jar and it looks like a stump.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool. Yeah, and it opens up and you throw your money in the stump. It's awesome because, old stumpy and old whole thing. And we also played a song called Snake Farm. It apparently it's really popular on YouTube or something, but it's basically like a 1-chord vamp for most of the song, and then there's like a part with E and A. So it's mostly E, then there's an E and A, and it's like a slow, dirty blues thing. And it's an excuse for us to be really loud and obnoxious, and yeah, it was entertaining.
For me, Ring of Fire is like that. I really love playing a solo over Ring of Fire. Because it's just E minor over G. I mean, you're just
well, depending on what there's stuff in there. But I mean, I play the horn part.
Yep.
And we've never really sat down and like worked out how many times the horn part sounds and all that stuff. And we always they play a lead in, like they start playing the chords, and I'm like, wait, when do I start? Like I'm supposed to start this off. Like what's going on here? So we're gonna have to sit down and like work through the arrangements of these songs, or at least just like play them enough times that we're just comfortable with how we're gonna do it. And it'll be fine. But other than that, we had Mike Merritt came out and saw the show too from Facebook group. So anyway.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I can't say enough good things about what I was playing through, like the Kemper through an actual cabinet. Nobody even knew like what what was generating my sounds. Nobody asked. Like there were some guitar players there too. Now I will say. I did get somebody asking me like, what's the UFO looking thing? That always happens. Because it's, it's open and visible. So, but I do think I'm probably at some point going to get a vertical 212 just because that's the perfect height, for being able to see the Kemper more so than like projection or volume.
Right.
So I actually, found myself looking at the Kemper more because I could see it. And actually see the screen and remind myself of what was going on. It's like I walk up and just to know I was in tuner mode, so everything was like muted. I would look at the screen and I could see tuner mode on, But yeah, no, it's a cool piece of kit. Still have nothing but good things to say about it, really, except for the lack of dirt. But I'm going to remedy that. I have a pedal board on the way from Voodoo Lab. I bought a Voodoo Lab Dingbat Medium, which comes to the case and all that. It's like I think it was under 200. And it's they're solid as a rock. I'm waiting for it to come in so I can start mounting pedals on it. And I got some other pedals that like I have discretionary money, but I'm holding off until January for some other reasons. But I'm gonna buy a couple more pedals to put on there. I think I just don't know what yet. And I'm actually considering getting a stage wedge, just for monitoring purposes for myself. But, and actually, if you're going to do the local gigging thing, you might as well have like little bits of the PA that you need laying around. If you're going to do in-ear monitoring, have an in-ear monitor system.
Yep.
Have an iPad and a holder, which Jim can see is right behind me because that's where I use all my chord sheets and stuff. Which I'm about 50% on book now. I would probably say less than that. I tend to look down at it even though I don't need it. So I'm slowly going away. Eventually, I'll get to the point where I know all the songs in the set. But like that Kitchen Dwellers tune, like I didn't need it for that at all. So that's kind of nice. So pedalboard's coming. You had some stuff you wanted to talk about. Do you want to talk about your Black Friday stories first, or do you want to talk about the Instagram BS?
Let's talk about the Instagram BS.
Okay,
it's such a brouhaha that's all over the internet. So I recently saw first this one video comes into my feed, right? And it's like your YouTube feed, YouTube suggests stuff, and it says, people faking fast guitar playing. And there was this metal guy, and he was so boring. And his voice was like this. He was like, and I could tell that this person was playing really slow right here. And I went, oh my God, just dude.
So where this came on your Facebook feed?
No, YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube.
I think
watch
I
a
saw
lot of
the
YouTube.
same video, and I didn't have that reaction to the guy that was doing it. But
Yeah, I just thought he was relatively boring.
well,
But
he
I
was.
mean, he really dove really deep, right? We want to long hair,
He was making a
English
mountain out of
guy.
a molehill. Is what he was
Yeah.
doing.
And he really got in there. He was like, okay, I can show you how they did this, and I can show
And
you see where the hair moves.
Did he demonstrate it?
Yes.
Okay,
He did it himself.
And then he did it. He did it at the same speed though, without like slowing it down, so it was less perfect.
Right.
And it sounded better if you did it naturally, at least in my opinion.
Right. Same here.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I see ads on my Facebook feed and on YouTube and other social media platforms where it's like, learn my method, and it's like symphonic guitar playing, and then they show you this guy like doing all this crazy sweeping and all that, and it's perfect, right? It's pretty clear that somebody sat down and they sat down in their studio and corrected every single note, and then like did a bunch of takes and picked the best ones and spliced them all together. And I hate that stuff because, well, obviously it's like, all right, so women in the fashion world, right? They're all mad because their body image and body shaming and stuff because there's these unnatural beauty standards. Well, it's the same thing for electric guitar. I mean, this essentially what you're doing is building up this fantasy that everybody plays like that. I mean, I've seen Yngwie, I've seen Paul Gilbert, I've seen some of the fastest guys on earth on the guitar. And you sit in the room with these dudes and you listen to them and you go, yeah, they're really clean, but they're not perfect, right? And it's the imperfection that gives them their character. That's how I know Yngwie from Paul Gilbert.
Right.
So when I hear that, like, it just there's no soul in it. The character's all been ripped out of it, and it's painfully obvious. First off, I mean, you can tell what unnatural speed is. If every note is perfectly picked and it's 280 beats per minute, it's pretty clear that's unnatural. And I've seen stuff like that where it's like, there's no way they're playing at that speed. But it's not about the video, right? It's not even about the video. It's about the sound of it. When you listen to it, like, just close your eyes, put your headphones on, listen to it. If it sounds too perfect, probably is. And I think the expectation of people who buy those videos is like, or buy into those training things is like, if I pay this money and do this for 30 days, I'm going to be able to do that. And that's complete crap. I mean, even the guys that really can do it, and they're out there, there's your Sean Lanes and stuff, which Sean Lane's passed, but I mean, there's other people like that. They can do it, but you know how many hours of hard work and dedication they put into their playing to get there? A hell of a lot more than you're going to do if you buy a 60-minute lesson series on some random fly-by-night site,
Exactly. And that was that metal guy's post point. But what I was getting at is, all of a sudden, then who is it? Rick Beato put up a video about it, and he kind of said what we're saying, which is, nah, there's not that many videos of people faking going fast. It's just not happening. It happens, again, like you said, buy my video type things.
Yeah.
And I can kind of see it if you're putting something out that is trying to get people to buy something, you can't have mistakes in it. It just can't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it can. Like Michelangelo Badio has stuff that's not perfect, and
but we don't hear those.
Not perfect.
No. You do. An untrained ear doesn't hear those mistakes.
I don't know that it's necessarily untrained. I guess it really depends on like your level of proficiency at guitar. But I think people who are looking for that, like they're already working on trying to get faster, when they hear it, they might be able to be a little bit more in tune with it. There's a big difference between somebody like Andy James and somebody like Eddie Van Halen. Let's put it that way. Andy James is like on another level in terms of his speed and tenacity. Compared to
he's one of the people that everybody said, everybody's referring to as that guy is not faking it.
No, he's not.
He's really doing it.
Unbelievable.
No way. Yeah.
How precise that guy is. I honestly, when I listen to his records and stuff, like things he's played on, I just sit there and shake my head. I'm like, I don't want to listen to this. It's too boring. It's too perfect. That's my gut reaction. I know that that's not everybody's gut reaction. That's my immediate response is like, yeah,
Yep.
what he does is beautiful, but it's just too like there's no. I guess I don't hear the angst and the aggression and the pain and the sorrow and the notes the same way, because it's all about like the composition at that point. And I think that's a little bit more abstract. At least that's my interpretation of it. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not huge on the Instagram thing. I do follow certain like professional guitar players on Instagram, and I have never seen anything like this there. But I guess there's like a whole sub community of people on Instagram, like guitar players so we have that, we talk about the YouTubers, right? The
Right.
influencers on YouTube who have all these, guitar channels and do all these guitar related things. I guess there's a whole community on Instagram that's just like that, with like 1 or 2 minute video clips of, here, watch me play this,
Yep.
um, I mean, it's getting to the point where it's almost painful, to subject yourself to like, I guess the way I would think about it is like different time back in the 70s and 80s in Nashville, these guys would like walk down the strips there where all the clubs are at, and they would pick out, who the good guys were by walking down the thing. I guess social media is trying to be that now, where, you just hear 2 minutes of somebody, you go, that guy can play. And it's like, well, yeah, saying that guy can play is great, but I mean, what is he creating? You know?
Right.
I see music as a creative endeavor. And for me, I want to create something with my skills. I love improving my skills. We know that, but I want to make something with it. If I don't make anything with it, what the hell is the point? It's like um, the soldier, who learns to shoot things a mile away with his rifle, and then never sees combat. It's like, what's the point? He's
Yeah.
sharpening skills for no reason, or he's in a pacifist nation that will never go to combat. You know what I mean? Like, not even that he won't see it, but like it's never even going to happen, and he's training himself to do it regardless.
Yep.
Um, I don't mind, and then that's not to put down like bedroom guitarists. I mean, I know there's a lot of people, and I think that's what a lot of people, where the Instagram appeal comes from, right? Um, the bedroom guitarist who, really does work on his skills and like wants to play better and everything, and like there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that like, um, I see it as a means to an end. It's another, paintbrush to have in my cup for, painting. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I
that's we've talked about it before. There's
It's not
matter of fact, it was
guitarist.
when I talked about playing super fast, and then I'm not saying super fast can't be good. We've talked about
No.
that before too.
Yeah.
There's super fast, really good, and it can be just a pile of notes that show off.
I think it has to be dynamic. Like it has to do different things, and it has to speak in a certain way.
Right. Right. And so I don't want to. I would never judge somebody on a 3-minute clip, or even worse, a 1.5-minute clip on Instagram. I'm not going to judge that person. Whatever it is that they did, or
Well, that's the problem with modern society, though, is like we judge things instantly.
Yeah, and why? What do we even care?
I'm guilty of it. I mean, I'll be the first person to admit it. Like, I can't. There are certain guitar players that I have never given the time of day because I have had some experience there, usually a fleeting one, of something I really didn't like either something they said or something they did, and I just never got into their music. And then I'll go back because somebody's like, "No, dude, seriously, just take the time." And I'll be like, you know what? They're not what I thought they were.
Right.
Classic example is like Jack White. Like because of some of the things he said and the way he runs his mouth and
Oh,
all
geez,
that.
yeah.
Like I've never been able to be like, yeah, I can listen to that. And I went back and I listened to some of his music, and I was like, you know what? I was like, some of the stuff he's done is actually pretty good. And I guess you got to separate some of these people from their image. Like in Jack White's case, like he had this image of being the tough do-it-yourselfer kid, that would just do everything himself and like to fight his guitars and all this. But he really wasn't that dude. That was just the image that he was using to sell records. Like,
Right.
he's really just a guitar player like everybody else, right?
Yep.
And maybe was more into vintage sounds than modern sounds, but
Yeah.
and once I could separate that, I was like, okay, I get this. But another good example is Grateful Dead. Like I was not into the Dead at all, and now I'm playing some of their
Right.
tunes in this band, and I'm like, no, I kind of get it now. Like I get the appeal, I get the groove. Like for them, the groove was more important than what was going on from the soloing context. And that was my whole thing. It's like people are like, Jerry Garcia is such a good guitar player, and I'm sitting there going, why? Like I just
Yeah.
don't see it. Like I just don't get it. But now that I'm starting to play through some of the grooves and stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it, because it isn't about what he was playing in the lead breaks. It was about what he was doing here, you know.
Right.
So I get it, you know. It took me a long time. The other thing is you got to remember in that context, like how long that guy had been around. You know, he was the one that gave Carlos Santana the mescaline at Woodstock. You
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
and then you
I was
think
gonna
about
say.
that, it's like, wait a minute, you know, that guy was playing like that back in like 1967, you know, like, wait,
Yeah.
what? So I don't know, just fair shake thing. As far as the Instagram stuff goes, like, I'm gonna delve more into that because I'm more interested in like what's going on over there. Because controversy from Instagram, like, I'm just like, I watched the video and the guys, oh yeah, these people are like speeding stuff up and whatever, and I'm sitting there shaking my head, going, that's a thing. Like people actually use Instagram and just post little videos of them playing guitar. Because my extent of Instagram is like people taking pictures of their pedal boards and sharing them and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm gonna check it out. I want to get more info. It might be a useful tool for me as well. But
You never know.
well, you know,
You never.
I think I could put together a pretty impressive 1 minute video.
I could put together the
I'll put-
world's okayest 1 minute video.
Jim, no, what I'm thinking is like I'll use like all the crazy techniques that people are like, holy crap, he did that during the solo last night or whatever.
Yep.
And then just do it all in like 1 minute and 30 seconds. So like exhaust
Right.
everything that would be useful that people really like, you know, in like 1 minute and 30, and then
Yep.
not that
And
I'm
then
really
show
that
exactly
good,
why
you know.
you should never do that.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's what I'm not really that good. I'm just saying that like I could string it together for 1 minute and 30 seconds to the point where people would think I'm that good.
Yep.
Dude, that was the other thing is this old stuff we showed. Like we're playing all these like half bluegrass things. I'm doing all this tapping and like people
Crazy.
Yeah,
Right?
nobody said anything. I'm just like, whatever. We're playing a Snake Bar song. I'm pretty sure I did like a tapping thing in there, and it's like whatever. I get away with it. Let's do it.
I like it when somebody slip that in and then nobody notices it, you know,
Yeah.
and then you go back. That guy was tapping right there.
You know, tapping, weird. Sweep arpeggios. That's another one that I like to slip into like country solos, where it's like, wait a minute, what did he just do? You know, was that a sweep thing? Yeah, because I don't, you know, there you never do like a major triad or a minor triad or diminished or anything like that. It's always like I'm gonna put in a minor 6 or something, you know, because that way then it'll just sound like a bunch of notes strung together and not an arpeggio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, guys like Brett. The heck's his
Brett
name?
Mason.
Brett Mason and Brad Paisley. They do shit like that sometimes. You know, they slide things in. It's just like boom, it's done, gone, and you never really notice it till you listen back, like Spaghetti Rag and stuff like that. And you go, wow, that was really freaky.
Yeah, and I don't do so like I've been getting into more hybrid picking, but I haven't really been able to incorporate it into my technique yet. So I will do it with string skipping. And that's another whole like I don't think most players could pull it off that way, which is why hybrid picking exists. But I've been doing so much string skipping over the years that I can get away with it. And so I cheat.
I can do it on bass. Guitar is a little bit more awkward for me. Oh, I have to mention this. Speaking of videos, so this I didn't even get to talk to you before the show about this one. So did you see the Thanksgiving football game? No, you didn't because you don't watch football. Anyway,
that's right, folks.
He was drinking water, and I could already answer his question. Anyway, so we're watching the football game at Thanksgiving right before dinner comes out over at my friend's house, and the band, they had this country band come out, right? This duet come out. They're the Osborne brothers or something. Anyway, They come out.
The Osborne
No,
brothers. I'm sure they've been dead for a while.
I don't know who the heck they are. No, I literally think they were named Osborne or something. I literally,
because there was an Osborne Brothers band or whatever,
yeah,
bluegrass band
a
back in
long
the
time ago. Yeah, and they may be
relatives
kids
or
of these.
something. Yeah.
Right. And so the poor guys come out, and you can tell they're doing this live. I mean, I'm willing to bet that the vocals were lip synced, but you could tell they were playing it live. Anyway, guys playing, and then everything goes dead. The feed from Thanksgiving goes dead. Then they get the feedback and they can't get the sound. And so they spent a good 5 minutes trying to get the PA to work. And everybody's like waving at the camera.
Yeah, I think I remember reading about this. So
yeah. So it took a lot longer. So they must have cut out a couple of commercials because it felt like 5 minutes, but it was probably maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes. But it was just hilarious. These poor guys are standing there. And it's like, yeah, we've got so and so and so and so, and they're going to start anytime. And
hey, some publicity is better than no publicity.
Yep, but they did rock it once they got a chance to get out there. Maybe they had to cut a song out. I don't know, but they did rock it, and it sounded good. The guys were good. I'll give them that. One guy was playing a 335, and the other guy was, I think he started on like a telly or something, switched over. So, country.
Since you brought it up, you talk about 335s, and there's been a couple of 335 conversations going on in the group, and I'm not going to bring on those conversations because you can read that out in the group. But I notice, like, I've seen a lot of players, specifically the people that are doing like the blues and soul, and the deep blues stuff that's really popular right now. Thinking about like Black Keys and all that. It seems like since those bands came up, there's been a lot of people into 335s, 135s, 339, and all those different guitars that they weren't that popular in the 90s. Like, I remember liking 335s, but I don't think a lot of other people like 335s. I couldn't play a 335 right now. I'll be honest with you. It's just the guitar shape is too weird, and I played solid body guitars my whole existence. So for me to pick up a 335 is just not going to work. But I always love the way those guitars look, and I love the way they sound.
Oh yeah.
I know that the closest thing I'm going to get is maybe like a PRS semi-hollow,
Yep.
And I know they don't sound anything alike, but the point is that I think there's definitely a place for that sound, and it works really well in those types of music. But I just wonder if like it's that counterculture thing again, where it's, people are sitting there saying everybody plays a Strat, everybody plays a Telly, everybody plays a Les Paul. I'm going to play this, and it's not really about them loving the guitar so much as I don't want to sound like everybody else,
Yep.
I see Red Shull's got, he's got a couple of hollow bodies, I think. And then of course he plays those Novos, which I love to play a Novo.
Yeah.
But nobody's a dealer around here. I think maybe CME is.
Yeah, we should do is if we ever do Summer NAMM together, we should run over there because they're right there.
I wouldn't mind. So that's a Fano brand, and Fano's got some other brands. And if they did like the body shape for the Novo in another brand that was like more reasonably priced, I would. Yeah. I mean, I would be looking at one to buy one.
They can't be. I'm not saying that Brett Shull isn't spending some cash on those guitars, but they can't be too expensive.
I mean, he's got some pieces that are upwards of $5,000 in his collection.
They've got to be giving him
that
some
acoustic guitar he's got. He showed off. He did a video with this other guy that came over and just like went through all his different guitars, and he's got an acoustic guitar. It's like $5,000-$6,000. And I would not shock me if he's not paying half. Those are
I was going to say he's probably paying half.
Which half on those guitars is like $2,700. I mean, those Novos are not cheap. And I'm sure artist pricing, and I'm sure any of us called up. I see the prices online, right? You call up, you have them build you one, they'll quote you a lower price. Like that's how all of these brands are. I've never had a conversation with a builder who was like, "Yeah, no, you're going to pay the sticker."
Right.
Especially
You're not
if you're asking for a lesser instrument.
Right. And you may be able to call a place like that. They've got to have ones they built somebody didn't pick up or somebody didn't like. Because these artists, they can afford to do that. They say, you know what? Yeah, I know you built that, but
Yeah, I don't need it now because I'm not doing that gig anymore. I got
Yeah,
kicked
or
out of that
I wanted-
band, so you know.
and you make it a little more purple. I didn't like that purple. You know, they can do that because it can be that picky. And the guy's like, yeah, but I got to charge you some of it. I got to get some of my money back. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Just make me
Well,
something.
I know Novo has at least made him one guitar. They made him one that he didn't pay for. But I'm just saying, like I've seen other guys playing those guitars lately that.
Yeah, RJ Ranquillo plays one. I know
well,
that.
Fano was a pretty well known builder. I mean, the guitars that he's put out, they're all over the place, dude. And they've been. I had a guitar player used to put out like a fantasy, like it was like a holiday issue where they would do, these are the cool, like really well photographed instruments from last year, and there would always be Fanos in there. And when I first saw the Novo, I was like, I don't really know who, like, I don't know anything about this company. And then I realized it was a Fano company. I'm like, oh, now I get it. It's just a label that he uses to produce this style of guitar.
Yeah.
I actually
doesn't he do that right there in Nashville?
Yeah, I think so.
Was I wrong?
No, he's got a small shop there, I think. I don't know how many of his guitars are coming out of there. I think he actually does have an import brand or something. But
he might.
It's either an import brand or a brand that's built by like a guild or something that's cheaper here in the States. But that whole like design aesthetic motif thing, I think they're very similar to the Supros in appearance. And the old Supros are really cool, and some of the new ones are cool too. And I've been waiting because I've been watching the Black Friday deals, and they're coming down in price. You can get like what's the one pickup model for like $400 now, and that's pretty compelling considering that when they came out they were like $800. And they were good guitars. I mean, I put them up against my SG when I bought my SG, and I was like, this is something I would consider as an alternative. I just wish that they would do them with more conventional pickups. I'm not really into the Supro single coil thing. I would rather do, give me an option for PAF in a Supro body, because I think the bodies are really unique. They're actually pretty comfortable. That would be something I'd do, So, but I'm probably going to stick with Strats. Strat bodies work for me, so I'm not going to screw around too much.
Well, speaking of new guitars, we may as well.
Yeah, cat's out of the bag or the bird's out of the bag.
The bird's out of the bag. So I picked up a Gibson Hummingbird. It's a rosewood and avant-garde.
I'm humming.
And I'm gonna be completely honest. So when I was a kid, I mean, I play a Martin. When I was a kid,
folks, this is barely a Hummingbird back here. This is an AG model, which stands for avant-garde.
Avant-garde.
It's as far away from a Hummingbird as you could possibly get and still have Hummingbird on the tag.
I always wanted a Hummingbird, yeah. And so I played a lot of Hummingbirds over the years. And just like any other guitar, and acoustics more than electrics even, they're so personal, and there's so much that goes into it.
And everyone is totally different from you could pick two of those models up off the wall and they'd be totally different.
I did. So it's funny because we had 6 or 8 Hummingbirds at the store. And one of them was this one. One of them was a new one, Rosewood Hummingbird. One of them was, the studio. Now they got a Hummingbird Studio, and they got a Hummingbird this. And they got all these new ones that they put out for 2019, which I kind of feel like, because Hummingbird is like the Les Paul. That's their, there's the Hummingbird and the Dove.
Sure. And then the J models.
Yep. And the J's, obviously, but those are the big body things that just, for me, would be uncomfortable to play. As small as I am, I just wouldn't be able to play it. I'd be sitting, with my arm up over it like a little kid still. So I bought because my torso is really short. I mean, really short. So I bought the guitar, or I played it. I had a Martin that I had chosen. I loved. And then I played this one, and then I played the Martin. I played this one. I played the Martin. And I had somebody sit down and said, "All right, I'm going to sing to you, and and I'm not trying to sing to you like I'm singing. I just want you to tell me which one works best with my voice. And he said, "Oh, hands down, the Gibson is better." And at that time, this thing was almost $700 more than I bought it. So I said, "All right, I'm getting that guitar." And so I knew that it had been hanging on the wall for a year, so it's probably not going to fly off the wall. I didn't think anything of it. And then the price dropped last week, and it dropped by $670. $660. I said, I got to pick it up. So I practically made myself penniless for the next 3 days under my savings. I used everything.
Dave Ramsey does not approve.
I have like $100 in my checking account for 5 days.
Dave Ramsey would say you are guitar poor.
No, because I didn't put it on credit.
No, doesn't matter. You're still guitar poor. All your money is gone on that guitar.
Yeah, but I get paid Friday. I'll be fine. But it's just funny that because I don't have any bills. I paid all my bills early, so I'm good to go Friday. But I was going to pick it up Friday. I put it on layaway, right? Yeah. And then Guitar Center didn't put me on the schedule for the next 4 days. I'm like, I'm not going to be at the store for the next 4 days. Yeah. And I'm going to sit at home, and I'm not going to be able to start because I'm trying to do what you did. I'm trying to put my acoustic set together, and I'm like, I'm going to do this with my freaking guitar. And so that's what I did. And it's awesome. It's awesome. Although, it's hard to put pictures of an acoustic up on, and now I understand why there's not like these acoustic forums the way they are with electric forums, where you put a picture of acoustic up, and it's like, oh, look at how beautiful it is. It just looks like an acoustic guitar. It's a solid piece of freaking spruce or whatever, and then rosewood back and sides.
Yeah, they're not. Well, I mean, like, there are definitely acoustics that are eye catching. But acoustic guitar, like, all right, I'm gonna break it down for you. When you buy an electric guitar, you can get a good electric.
Wait! You gotta have a beat. You gotta have a beat.
Yeah. No, let's not do that ever again. I think when people say, hey, I got this great new electric guitar, look how beautiful it is, or whatever, you can get a nice looking guitar that sounds really good and is well respected for like $700. Between $500 and $700 that you could post in a forum. Absolutely. And people are gonna be like, that's great. First off, why would you post all your really expensive, beautiful gear that you're taking pictures of in your house on a forum, just so people know where to steal it? I don't know. But anyway, we've all done it, me included. But think about it next time. Anyway, so when you do that, like with an electric guitar, it's one thing. But to get a really good looking like guitar that everybody respects in the acoustic world, you're looking at like 4,000 plus. I mean, and that's what's crazy is like acoustic guitars. You can buy a small builder acoustic in the electric, or like you can buy a small builder electric for like $3,000. You can buy a small builder acoustic for like $11,000. I mean, it's
that's on the lower end.
Yeah, it's nuts. There are acoustic guitar manufacturers, like two dudes working in a shop somewhere, that'll pump out a guitar for $24,000 and won't bat an eye
because they're making 6 or 7 guitars a year.
Yeah, and everybody wants them, and that's the other piece of it is like they're desirable, and not just with collectors, with people who actually play. And I'll say this: I don't think the sound quality in the acoustic world starts until 1K. I played a lot of less than 1K acoustics that I thought sounded like dog shit, and that's to put it mildly. I think there are some that are nice for like $750, but I don't think you're going to get a sure bet until you're at $1,000.
So I've been impressed. Honestly, personally, I've been impressed with some of the dreadnoughts and parlors that I've seen come out of Mexico for Martin.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the inexpensive Martins. Big fan of them.
The new X Bracing series. I think they're incredible. Taylor's the only one, really, I think, other than Martin, that puts out a sub $1,000 acoustic that you can really sink your teeth into?
Um,
That you can say.
I would say there's some smaller brands, but they're so like,
Well, I'm talking about the big
yeah,
boys. I'm
yeah,
not
no.
talking
So like Breedlove, like they're a
right.
pretty big brand now. Breedlove, I think to get so if you buy a $400 Martin, I think you have to buy a $600 Breedlove. And it
Right.
just has to do with the body shapes. And I think some of their wood selection, like not the selection, but the wood choices in the various models are kind of off over and some of the Breedloves. And if it has to do with their body shape and what they're trying to achieve, like they've chosen woods that will try to make the guitar sound more conventional in an unconventional body shape, and I get it. And I think they're comfortable as hell. I mean, they're great
Oh yeah.
players guitar. I just don't think that they sound as good as like a mid-level Martin or
Right.
and actually the other brand is Siegel.
Siegel, which is Godin,
Yeah.
right? Godin
Well,
owns
Siegel
Siegel,
owns
right?
them or Godin owns them, whatever.
Or one,
They're
yeah, one
all
of my,
Bob Godin's, baby, but
right.
I think it's Bob Godin. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I played some Siegels for like $400 that were stellar. They were better than the old Martin Sigma series, which that was another
Yeah.
popular thing, that the budget line from Martin Sigma.
Yep. Yep.
And they were better. Like, and for a lot of people, Siegel became the default. Like, if you're gonna buy a cheap guitar, that's what you buy. I
Well, yeah, well, you remember what I said about dilution of brands,
yeah.
right? My only thing about the Martins from Mexico, and don't think I'm talking down every single Martin that comes out of Mexico, because I love a lot of the X series, but there have been a couple of them where the tone just wasn't there.
Well,
It really was
and
not.
the question is it that particular example of an instrument, or is it that model?
No, that guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, I could play. The beauty of it is I could play 10 X series Martins,
And they're all going to sound different,
and probably sound, yeah. And I might find one that I'm not crazy about. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I'm not crazy about.
Well, I've always fancied getting one of the Taylor GSs, right? And I've played a bunch of them, and I played like 2 that I really, really liked, and then I played like 7 that I thought were just complete crap. So I don't know. Your mileage may vary. I'm not. I like Taylors because they play easy. You know what's funny is the guitar brand that plays closest to Taylor, and I know people are gonna hate me when I say this, but the Fender guitars play close to Taylor's. I think
you're talking about the Fender Acoustics.
Yeah, I think Fender Acoustics are modeled off the Taylor ideas.
I have played. Oh, I would not be surprised at all. I mean, they're right down the street from each other.
Well,
aren't they?
I think it's more or less just a competition thing. Like look at their target market. Martin is like geared, and I know this is going to sound like a serious generalization, but Martin is geared for like the traditionalist acoustic player, right?
Yeah.
And then Taylor is geared for like the singer-songwriter type who's maybe a little bit more modern, and does, like the coffee house gigs. And I can really see like Fender aiming themselves more at the coffee house gig, younger people than like Martin does, for example. So,
100%, 100%. People know when it is funny because in the acoustic world, I've found that people know acoustics. I mean, when they walk in, unless they're a beginner and they're like, I don't know, I'm a beginner, I want to buy, I don't want to spend more than $200. And it's hard for somebody like me when they walk in to go, geez, that's a tough one. I mean, the only thing I point them to is Yamaha at that point, because at least sub $200 Yamaha.
They're well made, at least you can say that much.
They're yeah, exactly. They are total turds.
I think that the really inexpensive Breedloves are pretty cool too, but I just I know a lot of
they're not sub 200 unless they're on sale.
Well, I've seen some of them for like 270. I mean, they're in that ballpark, but they're like not $200. Yeah.
Believe me, when somebody says sub 200, they mean sub 199.99 is the top of
their price exactly. Because you're like, you're not going to mess around with that. Like, you mean I have to spend $5 more?
Yeah, when I bought my son a Breedlove, he, it was $500 on sale for $400, and I was like, yes, I'm taking that one home. That's a great starter guitar for a kid. Honestly, in acoustic world. I mean, if you were going to buy a kid a starter acoustic, let's talk about our Christmas shopping right now. You're going out, you're going to buy a kid an acoustic. What are you going to buy?
I mean, I would be looking at the Breedlove Discovery line myself, but that starts at 300, I believe.
Yep. Okay.
So, and I think we've talked about this on the show before. I think the best place for a guitarist to start is around that $300 price point, whether it's electric or acoustic. And that's,
Yep.
you were talking about people knowing their guitars when they come in and look at acoustics. You're absolutely right. And it's because in the acoustic world, that's the only thing anybody cares about. They're not worried about, I mean, to an extent, like when you get to the pro level, they might be worried about an amplifier and the pickup system and all that stuff. But outside of, if it's just a guy that plays at coffee houses, he knows his acoustics front and back because he knows what he's doing. And that's the only change you can make in the tonality of the instrument. I mean, you can change the nut and you can change the bridge, but ultimately it's going to be, and I always say the bridge, but the saddle. You can change that, but ultimately it's going to be down to those core components that the guitar came with stock. You're not modifying your acoustic. Like you're not doing a bunch of work to it to make it sound different like you can electric, which is why I think people are very well versed in it.
I think so. Plus, when you play an acoustic on stage, this is going to sound terrible, but I'm going for the jugular here. Acoustics, Taylors don't look like Martins. Martins don't look like Gibsons, and Gibsons don't look like Fenders. You know what I mean? So there are very few knockoff, I look just like that one guitars. That it does happen.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was watching who was Andertons did a video where they had a dove or a hummingbird, and then some other company made a guitar that looked just like a hummingbird, and I want to say it was Sigma. Sigma Guitars, not Martin, but Sigma Guitars. Anyway, and they even ripped off the bird etching in the, I mean, to a T. I'm like, if I was Gibson, I'd have been all over him, like,
and in today's climate, Gibson probably would sue him.
Yeah. But I think the video was probably 3 years old by now.
So I've been seeing a lot more Fender acoustics around in the hands of players locally.
I have too. As a matter of fact, the most common one I get is the one I do like that Fender does their headstock on a lot of their acoustics. The 6-in-line headstock. They don't do it on all of them, but they do it in some. And one of the ones, I think it's called Coronado.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a little island or archipelago or whatever off of Southern California, San Diego, across the bay. And because I used to go over to the ships over there, Coronado. But anyway, that it was definitely that's definitely a guitar I've seen a lot of people playing.
Yeah, that well, I know someone who's got that. They came into the open mic last week and had the spalted maple from Fender, the 345 CE. I have a love-hate relationship with their acoustics. I know a lot of people hate them because and we've talked about on the show, like, why is Fender even making acoustic guitars? It just seems kind of silly. And then they've like the brand has struggled for 2 decades now. The Fender acoustic line has struggled, and that's not to say that they're not selling, and they may be making a profit, but they've never had a hit, and nobody's like in the professional world's like, man, I really want to play in a Fender acoustic, right? But that being said, I've played numerous Fender acoustics that I thought were especially recently, that I thought were quality instruments that I was like, all right. I mean, I'd probably put tape over the logo because I don't want to answer all the questions, but
yeah. So this one that you sent, the spalted maple auditorium.
Yeah, it's a bright guitar, but I mean, it sounds really good for that person's voice. So
honestly, that guitar, every time one would come in, I'd sell it like the next day.
Right? It's very unique.
It's really cool. It's really a sparkly. It's not for me, but again, we go into it's a very personal thing at that point.
Fender's not afraid to make acoustics with weird woods too, like some strange wood choices or colored acoustics. And I think like they have there, I'm looking, they have like one that's blue finish, and they have a couple in black, and that's, you know, pretty unique. Here's one in what they call it's like a gold finish almost. And that's because of their heritage with electrics and kind of applying that finish knowledge and stuff to their acoustic line. My whole thing is, I'm just looking here. They don't make a lot of high end acoustics, and I honestly think it would be more interesting if they made some really expensive stuff, like something that's truly great and truly expensive with all the fancy appointments you get in a really high end Martin.
Yep.
I think that would be an interesting thing. But for what you get for the money, like, they're not bad. I mean,
I don't know. Do they even put out an acoustic other than the Acoustasonic? Do they even put out an acoustic that's over like $700?
I don't know. The Acoustasonic is $2,000.
Well, yeah.
Can you believe that though? Like, that thing is $2,000.
It's like a huge jump. You know, so we have this one, the Discovery mahogany acoustic by Breedlove in the store. This is kind of like the one I got for my son. And anyway,
I
just want to say that guitar is just killer. Everybody that picks it up loves it, and yet they don't take it home. And I'm kind of like, I wonder why.
It's the Breedlove name. It's not that there's anything wrong with the Breedlove name, but the fact is, it's not a name that everybody instantly recognizes, and that's a hard sell for deals. I mean, like, yeah, I'm sure you've had people come in going, I want a Fender, I don't want a Schecter, you know, I don't know who makes Schecter, like, that kind of like look, and it's like, well, Schecter's been around for 35 years now, you know.
They started in Texas.
No, so I this is going to sound really bad because we've crapped all over the Acoustasonic so many times. For the kind of player that I am, this would probably be the instrument that I'd want to buy for playing acoustic, well, like playing with old Stumpy, but because then I could play acoustic guitar in there too. But I would not buy this guitar for a penny under $700. I mean, it's got to be sub 700 for an Acoustasonic. It would have to be sub 700.
I wonder if you ever go overseas with it.
Huh?
The smart thing for them to do X conversion or
I think in 10 years there's going to be a Squire. I think there's going to be a Squire. Because really the way that these guitars are built, whether this is how they're actually building them or not, it is probably just a CNC ashtray, right? So inside it's pretty much hollow, maybe some bracing, and then they basically just glue a top on it. It's not like, I just looking at the construction, it's not super crazy, and it's very much like a Telecaster. I haven't played one extensively. I played one at Gear Fest. We strummed a couple chords on it. It sounded like crap acoustically. I would really, I mean, the electronic side of it's got to sound really good for the acoustic side, or I'm not interested at all. But the Taylors, they make those similar design to this. That would be another.
What is it? T5Z.
Yeah, and they're quite a bit less money.
So you were speaking to that. You know what was amazing was, so a guy came in to try the Acoustasonic, and he's a really good player. He's a session player, so lives in the area. I don't want to drop any names. So he comes in and he picks and picks and picks at the Acoustasonic, and we've got him hooked up to a Fishman Loud box.
Right. Good amp.
Yep, sounds really good. And then he goes, wonder what this would sound like hooked up to a. So he comes out, he hooks up to a Princeton reverb.
Yeah.
Or Fender Princeton, sorry. Hooks up to a Fender Princeton. And that, all of a sudden, the Acoustasonic, I was like, that's where it lives. Wow, that sounded good. I'm not talking just the electric side. I'm talking that whole guitar had a whole new life. through a Fender electric guitar amp, I was blown away.
Well, I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled. If I see deals on these starting to come out, or they come out with an import version, I mean, I'm willing to entertain the idea. I just don't think this is a product that should have existed. I honestly, for the marketing side of it, like, how do you market this thing? I mean, that's where I'm like, guys, I don't know what you're doing here. But for my purposes, and my nefarious purposes, which is basically like, I don't want to bring more than 2 guitars to a gig. I could definitely see this filling a bill as an acoustic for me, because we talked about this. I don't even put a wound G on my acoustic guitar because I want it to play like an electric more so than anything else. I play with an unwound G. I play an electric guitar string on an acoustic guitar. Because I got to be able to bend, and if I can't bend that string, like, it just throws me off. I have to like rethink about how I play the instrument completely. It's probably just me not spending enough time playing acoustic guitar, but I
gotta say, so if I was gonna go out shopping for to buy my kid or a friend's child an acoustic guitar, I think that I would make my floor $300, and I would try to get closer to $400, because you can find some good deals in the $100 range for acoustics that will really blow your socks off, as far as, like, because kids, and I'm trying to put this in perspective. So kids find it hard enough to make a chord, right? A G chord, a D chord, whatever. And acoustics are the one guitar type where, as you spend money up to a point, just like any guitar, as you spend money, you do really start to get finer details. It's not just tone. It's the playability. It's the neck. It's
they start feeling better. And they don't. It's not diminishing returns until you get to that, like $3,000 mark, where it's like, at this point, you've got your solid top, you've got your solid back, and your sides and everything that are the right woods, and it's going to play pretty damn good, whereas I think that's the biggest hurdle in acoustic guitar. To get a guitar that plays really damn good, you got to spend a little bit more money. That's why Taylor's always been so popular, because for $1,000 or $2,000, I mean, you get a guitar that plays like a $3,000 or $4,000 guitar. It may not sound as good, but it'll be easy to play. And I think for a lot of people, that's probably the first hurdle to get over, is getting an acoustic that you can actually play. Actually, if I was going to say super budget, I probably wouldn't go Breedlove. I'd probably go to Ibanez. I think Ibanez makes some really good acoustic electrics. In fact, that's what I've got right now. And it was super inexpensive. I think it was $350. And it's not a great guitar, but it sounds decent. It's a little shrill, but it played really good. Still plays really good.
Another company that gets left out in this conversation is Guild.
Yeah, Guild's, and you know what? Epiphone. I got to be honest. Like, I played some Epiphones that were better than their Gibson counterparts. So, but I think Epiphone's a little bit more hit and miss. But Guild has got good stuff. I mean, Guild is right up there against Gibson as well. Not that Gibson is the high watermark here. I mean, I think Gibson, Taylor, and Martin are really the 3 top brands in acoustic guitars, and you can't really go wrong with a really high end guitar from any of those 3 companies. But in terms of like their beginner starter stuff, I think if you look elsewhere, you can get some better deals. I think Martin tried so hard not to compromise their brand by making an inexpensive guitar that they basically just said, we're not going to do it. And the same thing with Taylor. Like the least expensive Taylor is the Baby Taylor, I think. That's still like,
what is that? $500?
Is it? No, that's the GS Mini is the one that's like really expensive.
Oh yeah, right.
Which the GS Mini is. I mean, and those guitars are niche guitars too. That's another thing. It's like the Martin Backpacker. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
it's just a total
I hate
niche
that
thing.
thing.
You know, it's like it's got its own thing that people look for, and the people that come in looking for it,
Yep.
they're going to play it around the campfire. That's the only reason they want it. You know, and it has a niche, and maybe that's what the Acoustasonic really is too. It's this like very particular niche that it fills. And maybe they knew it existed, and everybody else is just kind of sitting there going, "No, nobody really wants this," but maybe it exists. They haven't discontinued it yet. I can't imagine it's going to go on for any length of time if it's not a decent seller.
I know. So as we're recording this, sales have ended for Black Friday at Guitar Center. But I know we had some sub $700 tailors that were marked down into the $400 and $500 range. And I'm looking at right now the least expensive Taylor that's not a mini is the Taylor Academy 10. And that's designed for it's right there in the name. It's designed for students. But you can go just under $700 with Taylor and start to come up to where you're going to start seeing some good stuff. But you're not going to see the really good stuff until you get up in the $800-900, and even then you got to break $1,000, I think, with them to really get a. I'm not saying it's a quality Taylor, but I'm saying that just like Martin, if you're looking for American made, and if you're looking to, I can tell you this: if I was to walk into a place, I'd probably buy an X Series. Right now, I'd buy an X Series Martin for a kid, $500. And most people say, "Well, I'm not going to buy my kid a $500."
You're buying them an acoustic guitar. You're not buying them an amplifier. You're not buying them cables. You're not you're right. Buying. That's your rig right there. You know, so I could totally get down with that. I would go used if I could.
If I could find a used one, I would definitely go used. But honestly, I would buy an X Series Martin, or I would get one of the lower, the Taylor 110s or a Taylor,
I think
114.
Maybe 2020, I need to explore acoustics a little bit more. We're talking about this in the show, and I feel like I don't really have enough background, both as a player and as a a commentary on it. At least I need to play more, right. and go in the stores and play them and stuff, so I can get a better idea of what all the brands are like. I mean, I kind of know the big three, but outside of that, I mean, I've only played a handful of Breedloves. I've only played a handful of Guilds. I've played a handful of Epiphones. Yep. I played more Fenders, I think, than the rest of them. Just because, like, they're always cheap, and you see them, you're like, this guitar's only $200 used. What's this sound like? Right.
Well, and that's the thing. So I can walk in, and it happens all the time. The Martins that I mentioned and the Taylors that I mentioned, they go on sale all the time. So you can kind of wait, get yourself a sale price on one. And the other side of it is that so we unbox these things all day. We get to take them out, we set them up, we play them. We tune them, play around with them, tune them again until they, won't fall out of tune. Then we go hang. That's the way we do it. I don't know as all stores do it. So when you do that, you get to play all of them, every single one. So I played everything that's on that wall at least once, right? Almost, except for maybe a few of the used ones, and some of the used ones are killer, by the way. And here's the thing that I found as I play through all of them, and I get to deal with them, is the Martins and the Taylors, and of course the Gibsons. But the Gibsons are their lowest price one is $999.99. That's lowest. But it's made in Montana. It's not made overseas. So I mean, in Mexico. So that is the little bit of that. I'm not saying it's all of it. I'm not. The thing I can say about those is that every one of them, the action on them right out of the box is incredible. And you can experience it yourself, sitting right there in the store. It's like
question, and this is something I'd always assumed, but reasonable question. You played a lot of guitars doing this over the last month or two. Would you say that acoustics come out of the box better set up than electrics do?
Yes.
And that's not a surprise to me. And the reason is because you can't modify an acoustic in the same way that you can an electric out of the box. You don't have individual saddle adjustment. You don't have
Right.
once you get that truss rod, basically you could tweak the truss rod to make sure that you got proper relief, and then after that,
that's it. After that, you got to buy a new nut, or you got to buy a new bridge.
And I wonder how much
or
that
you gotta
plays
adjust
into the cost of the instrument versus an electric, which is why we're saying that like the entry level electrics start, that are decent, you can get for under $300. Whereas
Right.
an acoustic guitar, you're going to spend $500 because they're $200 labor for the setup and the shipping and all that, because they have to do it a specific way.
Yep. And I think that that's part of it. They also tend to be tuned lower, which, I mean, that makes sense too. They tend to be tuned to D instead of
when
E
they come
flat.
out of the box.
When they come out of the box. They tend to be tuned to D or lower. And the reason is just because I think for the tension on the neck. But I can tell you, there have been, that's just it though. The beauty of an acoustic, if you want to buy an acoustic for a child or for, whoever that's starting out, don't play one, don't play two, don't play three. Play as many as you can get your hands on, and then go back and do them again. Play them. Say, look, I need to put 5 or 6 guitars into one place so I can, start honing them down to the one I want. And you may play that. That's the big thing about acoustics. You may play 5 of them, the exact same one. They came out of the same shipping. The boxes were together. They came out, and you hung them up. I had these $150 specials on these Yamahas, and I can tell you right now, every single one of them was a little bit different. And that's why people would say, I could say, I got a new one in the box, but if you really like this one, let me give you this one, and then I'll bust another one out, and I'll tag that one, because it's just literally that difference could be night and day on those guitars.
Yeah. So I actually, we're talking about the Acoustasonic. If I was in the market, I probably would actually go for like a Godin A6 or something with with a neck humbucker, but like more of a jazz top style thing, multi-act, multiple voices. Just because they're silent and on the stage, like they're not going to feedback the same way, and they do sound okay when they're plugged in. Actually, they sound great when they're plugged in. They sound better than a lot of acoustics do plugged in, which is pretty crazy. But that's kind of more my style, and it would be, I could get away with putting a unwound G on that, and I could get away with there's various reasons, but they're a lot easier to play. They're not even expensive. I'm looking at one right now, $1,250.
I know, right?
And that's hard.
That's the Godin
and that's why
A6.
I'm kind of looking at. That's why I'm looking at the Acoustasonic initially and going, "There's no market for this." A $2,000 Godin A6. I mean, that's basically what they built. With a sound hole.
Yep.
You can
find them. Oh my God, used they're like $650,
and they sound freaking fantastic, and they're consistent too. Like everyone I've played has been fairly similar.
This is the thing that, so here's where we start talking about the difference between acoustics and acoustic electrics. Okay, so Godin did this right. They picked the right pickup. The pickup they're using for the acoustic side is a really good pickup. Because of that, because the guitar, just like the Acoustasonic, acoustically, it's not going to be that, all that. But if you're playing it on the stage and you're not, and I want to get this to our listeners. So there's a difference between, I'm stating the obvious here. There's a difference between playing an acoustic guitar acoustically and acoustic guitar electrically.
They're very different. By the way, they make a car. Oh, this is funny, Jim. You're gonna laugh so hard when you see this. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you via Facebook, and then I'll describe to our listeners. So Godin took a page out of Godin, I believe is how it's pronounced. They took a page out of Fender's book, and they have produced something called the Acousticaster.
Oh my God, they did.
Jim,
Oh,
describe this for our listeners. Maple neck, dude.
Okay.
Maple neck. I could buy this. This would.
Let me tell you something. That's actually a killer looking guitar. Okay, so I'm going to describe this to you guys. It looks like a Telly with a humbucker neck pickup, no bridge pickup, no sound hole. It is beautiful. I mean, beautiful. Hardly any fret markings. You just got little dots. This thing is killer. It's got the same Godin mini humbucker and the Godin preamp.
Yeah, the 5-band preamp.
And the transducer that they made for themselves.
They literally looked at what Fender did. This has got to be new for this year. And they're like, hey, we're going to do the same thing.
It looks good. Honestly, I was, I haven't played one. But looks wise, I'd buy it before I got the Acoustasonic.
And the price is definitely in a better price point.
Oh, yeah.
At $1,250.
Oh, $1,250. This is right where you said you'd want an Acoustasonic.
No, I would want it to be sub 700. But maybe used. You know, I don't know. I think I would rather do an A6. I think it's more my jam.
I like.
They got the denim blue flame A6 Ultra, and I know they've done A6s with the MIDI pickup too. And I think that would be an extra little like bonus bargain thing to get.
Wow. Who sells?
You do.
Godins.
Yeah,
we do. That's right. I was
baiting you. So does Sweetwater.
I wonder if we are carrying this yet.
That's really funny. Really funny. That's like shots fired. For those of you that didn't know, Godin actually got their start making necks for the Fender Custom Shop. They were building bodies and parts for other companies before they started building their own guitars. And they got a lot of capital because in the first couple of years of the Fender Custom Shop, they were getting necks from both them and Carvin. Because they didn't have anybody that they felt were good enough to do it. But on their custom shop level instruments. That's it was probably not that. It was probably just volume, you know. They needed to do them faster. And so it made more sense to go to a company that was well known for it and had people who were experts in it and just source the necks. And so that obviously didn't stay that way for very long, but that's how they got their start. And their necks always feel great.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm actually looking at the blue denim one, the denim flame, and I think that's right where I'd want to be.
That's some hot stuff right there. You're talking about the A6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some killer guitars, man. All I know is that
they brought
when
back
it comes to the
electric side, they brought back the radiator too.
Ooh,
because the radiator was a real popular model from them in their old style body, the A style body or whatever they want to call it. And they brought back the radiator. Like that's the first guitar from my youth that like a lot of people really wanted and a lot of people really dug that they brought back. And I'm like, so there's like vintage Godins now apparently. But their radiators don't look the same now. But
the other thing I want to stress to folks is that the Acousticaster from Godin has a headstock with 6 on a side. All their other guitars are 3 and 3.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not necessary. That's not actually true.
Well, 6 and 6 on a 12.
But not on all their guitars.
I'm talking about the A series.
Even the old their old electrics were all 3 per side for the inexpensive ones. The ones that were more Strat oriented.
Yeah. You mean 6?
No, they had 3. They had 3 per.
Yeah.
Or the 6. The inline headstock. Yes, 6 on the side. Right.
Line headstock. But it just so happens that this Acousticaster has 6 on the side, and they use the caster.
There are certain guitars they make I really like. Like I love the Fifth Avenue line. I'm just looking at their brand here. The Fifth Avenue line's great. A series is fine. They're acoustics, right? My phone just apparently said I thought I said Siri.
Yeah. Did you say Siri?
the World Series, and then there's the I don't know, their Strat style body's ugly. It looks horrendous. And their single cut body looks terrible. They should have kept the body they had when they were doing the I think they still use it for the multi-voice. So the multi-voice body, which is the LG body. The LG body is great.
That's I like.
Everything else they do is trash. It looks awful.
Yeah.
I do like their hollow bodies. They do have some hollow bodies. They do. And that's the Fifth Avenue series. But the rest of them, I'm like, what the hell are you thinking? Yeah,
the high end LG, what do they call it? LG XA or LG.
There's the LG XT. There's the XTSA and the XTSA Koa.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't make a whole lot of guitars in those body styles, but it'll come back around. They were all the rage for
those
a while.
Were my favorite. Yeah, I had an LG XSA for a long time. Love that guitar.
I had an LG. No, I had. I don't remember what the model number I had. I think it was an LG XT or something, but it was like a.
Yeah, mine was an XT. You know why? It had the bridge, the Strat style bridge.
Good guitar. Yeah. Mine was an import. It was like the really inexpensive one. They're all imports. They're all from Canada, but mine was really inexpensive, and but it played great. It was as good as an American Strat at the time. I sold it to get my Steinberger Spirit because I needed a travel guitar. Because I was taking a job where I was driving an hour to and from work, so I just needed to be able to hang out, so I didn't have to drive home in rush hour. So I bought one and stuck it in my desk at work. And then when that office moved, it happened, and I sold the Spirit, and I got I don't even know what I bought with the money, but yeah, I've done a lot of horse trading for dumb stuff. I probably should have kept the not that I think it was a Godin SD. That's what it was. I probably should have moved up to an LG or something. I played an LG XSA recently at Guitar Center for like $600. And it was a freaking dude, that guitar had been rode hard and put away wet. There was places where the finish were like coming off because where the pick had hit it and stuff. Like it was an early one. And I mean, it was like, it played really good. And you could tell the person really loved it because they played a lot. And I almost bought it, and I kept, every time I go back, it'd still be hanging there. And I was like, going back and forth on it. But I was looking for a 7-string at the time. So I just left it. Now I'm kind of like, I wish I'd have bought that one. But yeah, cool guitars. If you haven't checked out Godin's offerings, they're worth looking at. Yeah, let's talk about something else. We've been talking about acoustics for a really long time. Yep. So we talked about the faking fast guitar videos. We talked about my new pedal board that's going to be coming soon. Talked about the Kemper thing at the no, that was at the show. I'm sure we mentioned open mic. Black Friday stories. You want to tell me some Black Friday stories?
Are we ready?
Yeah,
for Black
let me
Friday
get my milk and
stories?
cookies. Hang on.
Black Friday started out pretty slow, really, because most people are off doing the Black Friday things at the places where they're trying to get, $25 computer and 55 cents.
Which is hilarious because we saw a guy, he came back with his Black Friday TV, right? And my wife and I looked at each other and we go, I wonder if he got how many, or that wasn't how many. It was like, well, I hope he enjoys his one HDMI port TV.
Yeah, because that's what they do to you. What they never tell you is it's only got
item, that they ordered sourced specifically for Black Friday.
Yeah, and it's got older parts.
Great if you want to put a TV in your bathroom.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. But anyway, so people start coming in, and this is the thing that I thought was funny was people were like, "Can I use my 15% off coupon?" We talked about that on the pod or in the group, and we used it for everything unless it was on sale. If it's already on sale, we couldn't use it. Well, if it wasn't on sale, we use it.
Which is great. Everything. I'm glad that you guys give out coupons, but that laundry list of brands that you have to come in and ask for, that's really misleading.
Oh, you can call.
But Jim, the average person is not going to do that.
You're right. Well, the average person that does it online is not going to do that.
I don't know.
But I can tell you this: people that come into the store, they are not afraid to ask if it can get 15% off. I had people bringing up picks. Can I get 15% off? It's like it says $199 or more, not $1.99 or more.
$199 or more.
It's
Seriously, dude, you want
$199.
15 cents? Here, let me go out. I'm gonna look at my car. I'm gonna find 15 cents in my couch cushions or my seat cushions in the car.
Yep.
I'm gonna come back in. I'm gonna give it to you, and then you can have a 15% off.
Oh, you have no idea. Can I still use this on this piece of used gear that you've got marked down there? But anyway, so my funniest story. This guy calls in, and he's like, "Yeah, do you guys?" I was thinking maybe I could, get a wiring harness for my Les Paul.
What?
It's like, okay. And he goes, I was thinking maybe it could be like this. Like I could get this and then I could do this. And he's going through all these specs things. And I'm like listening. And then he's like, and then I could, because I got an Epiphone, but I think I could get it better if it had a better wiring harness. I want to get rid of that Chinese
wait.
wire.
So Jim, did you hear the bong water like blowing while you're talking to this dude? Because clearly he does not understand what Guitar Center is. Like if you go into the store, they don't really sell wiring harnesses. I mean,
so I said to him, I said, well, we have some stuff online. I said, but you really want to come in or call and talk to our maintenance guy because he can point you to the right one.
He can do it for you.
Right. He needs to know what year, make, and model of the guitar you're talking about. He goes, well, it's an Epiphone Les Paul.
Oh my God.
I know, but that's like telling me, and I said to him straight up, I said, that's like telling me you bought a Civic.
Yeah. Like,
okay, now I know you got a Honda Civic.
Is it an 80 Civic or is it like a 2019 Civic? Because they're not the same thing.
And he's like, oh man, come on, man. It's, I just got to know how much to save up. I said, well, I don't know. The guy will, he will be able to give you the right information the first time. I said, you don't want me to give you the wrong information. And then, you come in and you're like, oh man, I needed more money. And he goes, well, I saw online, it's like between $80 and $100. I said, well, then it's between $80 and $100. And then the guy goes, oh man, you talk too much.
I would have just hung up. This is why I can't work at Guitar Center, because I would have just hung up on the guy and been like, screw you.
Yeah, you kept me on the phone for 25 minutes while people are standing in line.
Bong rips while you're talking to me.
Yeah, while you're constantly saying the same thing. It's like sitting next to your drunken friend. Hey, man, I love you, man. You're my best friend.
Honestly, I'm really shocked that Guitar Center even gets into like let's sell wiring harnesses kind of thing. It's one of those. It's one of those items that's like, okay, yeah, that's I get it. It should exist, but like to an extent, it's almost like, well, if you're just take it in and get it done. If you're looking for a wiring harness, it's because you don't know how to do it. At least that's my estimation. I know some people are like, well, it's a convenience thing. And I get that. Like, yeah, there's definitely a convenience aspect to it.
So the guy calls. We have all of 5 online. We have 5. That's all we have. That's a choice.
Dude, just tell him to call the call center. Like,
and it's like, and every one of them that says Les Paul says $120. How much do you think the Les Paul one is? Probably around $120. Just guessing. I'm just saying. But the guy kept, he was like, I just got to know how much money to bring in with me, man. You're not going to
get it at the store, man.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to have to order it in. Yeah, you may as well ship it to your house.
What are you?
It's 4 ounces. It's going to come.
No, he's like, no, I was like, dude, here's the thing. Like, this is the problem. Well, they won't ship to my P.O. box. Because I have to hide from everybody,
Yeah. Yep. I love the.
I think we should role play out some of this stuff on the show from now on. I think I should be the customer and you should be the.
Yeah. You
should. Hang on.
Because let me tell you something. You can be. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what I was hearing in the background too.
Yeah.
The bubbles going up and down. Oh my God, it was so bad. It was so bad. And then, and the worst thing is that the people I get to see and I get to deal with in person, they're really great. And most of the people that call, are great, but there's those people that call you up and they want to ask you about every single thing you have in the store.
Come in. Look for yourself.
Come in or go online. You go to Guitar Center, used guitars, click within 25 miles of my address.
Do you guys
boom,
have Elixir
How
Nano
lazy
Web
are you?
9 through 48? And then you're like, you go look over the counter, you're like, yeah, we've got them. And then they're like, do you have Elixir OptiWeb 9 to 52?
Do you have, well, I had a guy come in, you don't have any 8-string guitars, do you? And I was like, yes. And I picked one up and he goes, oh, because I was like, can I help you find anything? I think he wanted to like trick me, like,
like it's like you guys.
And he goes, you don't have
you guys got 8-string guitars, like trying to be a smart ass, and you're like, yes, we do.
Like,
one in both hands, you know. You're like,
I give him the 8-string. It's like an 8-string Ibanez.
You got one in both hands, you know. You're like, yes, we do.
Yeah. And the guy goes, oh, and then it's like he didn't play it. It was just like a trick question.
I would have been like, you know what?
It's hilarious.
Get out.
It's hilarious. Yeah. And then we had this this group of guys. They decided to have a bass playing competition to see who could get louder in the bass room. And it's like I walk in there, and of course,
come in the store
and play. I know, but they're playing over there, which is fine. Absolutely. I mean, I love the fact that people come in and play. But the thing is, they kept turning up. Like, hey guys,
for the Who cover
there
band.
Are other people in the store. Yeah, there are other people in the store. I need to turn down just a little bit to allow other people to be able to play. Because at that point, the drummers start hitting harder because and then the guitar players turn up. Now the poor person that's trying to try out a ukulele.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. If you're trying to try out a ukulele, you're probably never mind. I know everybody sells a lot of ukuleles to people who don't play any other instrument.
You want to hang out with the musicians? Get a ukulele.
That's how it works. I've been told. We have a ukulele player in our band, and he actually knows how to play the instrument. But I know there's a lot of people that like buy ukes, and they it's the party thing. Everybody's got their red Solo cup, and they're drinking their beer, and they're like, "Hey, watch this," and then they play 4 notes from a song. Yep. It's like
I saw a group of guys play "Smoking on the Water" on ukuleles. It was pretty funny. They had a good time. But they all bought ukuleles.
I want to get one and just like shred the crap out of it.
I had a guy come in. He bought a recorder, right?
Yeah.
You know what a recorder is. And so he walks out with it, and he comes back, and he's like, "Hey, I want to. I don't like the color. Can I trade it in?"
Dude,
I don't know if you put your mouth on it.
Why didn't you just rub your genitals on it instead?
Yeah. We can't take it. We can't take it back. I mean, it's like $8.
Dude, seriously.
Seriously, just give it to a friend. Get the color you like. I mean,
keep it. It's not like it's a one. You'll have two. You can coordinate with your outfit.
My God. And then somebody asked me today, they said, "So man, do you play in a band locally?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, I'm probably one of the area's top kazoo players. And he looked at me for a second. He's like, "Really?" I said, "Oh yeah. People come here all the time asking me to play a kazoo for them." I don't think you knew what a kazoo was.
Yeah, it was me on Crosstown Traffic. Even though that's not a kazoo.
Crosstown Traffic. That's not a kazoo, but still.
You just really mess with them.
Funny stuff right there. I love that stuff, though. I love it. So many. It's a lot of fun. It's becoming a lot more fun. And still seeing about a 50-50 thing with the players on the guitar, buying guitars and basses and ukes and everything else. It's pretty much 50-50 men and women. So I think that there's a huge shift. And I wanted to talk real quick about that article we heard about recently. I don't know, some people have heard about it, where supposedly 90% of guitar players
within the first
playing.
Year. No, that wasn't an article. That was Fender's marketing statistics.
Yeah, where does that? I mean, unfortunately, Fender kind of shoot themselves in the foot with this one, even if, and I don't know where these data points come from.
They're got research,
it's
man. Like they spend money to find it out. These companies have serious marketing budgets, and they are not afraid to spend it doing focus groups and hiring companies to do questionnaires and all that.
You still got to figure out who's answering the question. Nobody's ever asked me that question.
But Jim, you're not you're not the target, right? Like, so they may have, like, if you register an instrument with them, that may put you in the pool. And again, they have so many people buying their stuff that they don't need a huge statistic, like a huge amount of people to get a statistically significant sample.
Yeah, but you're sampling from. This is the thing about statistics, right? Anytime you do statistics, is when you grab. It's
supposed to be a random sample.
That's right. But if you're taking
randomly
a random
because they're not asking you, it's not a big deal. I'm sure they are asking other people who are both professionals and non-professionals. I'm sure it's just that the pool is so large, they don't need to ask everybody. They're only asking, 1% of the people that buy their guitars, and that's all they need.
It could be, and I understand you only have to do a percentage, but if it's a percentage of people who register the guitars,
that's probably not the only place they're getting it from.
I'm just curious. I'm wondering.
More than likely, like if you've been to the mall, I'm sure, and had somebody walk up to you with a clipboard and says, "Hey, would you like to take the survey?" I'm more than willing to bet they're hiring companies like that to do the research. But even nowadays, there are intelligence tools that you can use through Google and other things that can provide you some of that information. So,
yeah. Well, it's not like people share. People share when they start playing guitar. People don't typically share when they stop.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's just it's like it's not like you put on Facebook. Hey man, got a new guitar today from my girlfriend.
I'm never talking about because my association does this. We poll our members, and there's some really important things to remember. Yeah. You can get into what they call not option paralysis, but survey paralysis, where you throw too many questions at people or too many different surveys throughout the time period, and people will not answer accurately. Yep. Or you can, if you put them in the wrong place, like let's say somebody's walking out of a movie and you ask them for information about the movie, gut reaction may not be the actual reaction to the movie. You know what I mean? Like it may take some time for them to think it over before they give honest assessments. If Fender is exit polling people coming out of Guitar Center, that's not going to be accurate data as to like if they were to find a random sampling in a store. Have you ever played guitar? If you played guitar,
right?
But you got to remember they also have behavioral analysis now too. You can use things like Google to find out, who made a purchase, who visited your site, who went through your purchase page, who went through the order confirmation page, what's on the order confirmation page, and then follow up with those people later, or even just track their statistics and analysis in terms of, hey, this person Googled guitar, this many times in this many days, and then they just never looked at guitar again online. And that would be a pretty good indicator of how they could assemble statistics like that. I just think that that statistic sounds accurate to me. Based on the people I know, most of the people I know that have started playing guitar, they don't stick with it. At least not, I mean, even if they do, they may never become technically proficient. You know what I mean? Like they may play once in a while. I can think of at least 3 people right now off the top of my head that bought guitars with the intention of learning from me and then just like never followed through with it.
Yep. Oh, I got a close friend. He and his son bought guitars that sit.
And that's what we've talked about with Fender from day one, is that the real reason the Fender makes so many beginner level instruments is to fulfill the people that don't ever do anything with it niche. It's not like Squier is not for, and I know this is going to like ruffle feathers, but Squier is not really for people who play guitar. Squier is for people who are interested in playing guitar.
Right.
And I think Fender I want to try out Fender Play this year. I want to try out their lesson system just to see what it's like. And mostly because they're touting that system as the whole reason we're doing this. They may be doing it at a loss, and that is what's crazy, but it makes sense that they may be doing Fender Play at a loss so that they can continue to get people buying their gear because they stick around with the instrument longer.
One more month. I mean, we all know that at least in the electric world, one more month equals that possibility of buying. Oh, I've got a Strat, now I need a Telly. Got a Telly.
Yeah, I mean,
now I need a Mustang.
Any length of time. But also, yep. If you can get them past that first 1 year hump, that's the other thing that Fender was saying. If you can get past that first 1 year, you're going to stick with it long term. And if that's the case, then it totally makes sense, because it's okay. So now we've got a whole market that we've created, and whether they're indebted to Fender or not, that's good for the industry as a whole. And so I could see other brands jumping on and helping Fender with this in order to make sure that the industry is growing. And even they could, if they play their cards right, they could give Fender Play subscriptions out to schools, and you could have this whole like grassroots movement of let's get rock and roll back in like the education system. Even I know that it never really was in the education system. They have, it's like at my daughter's school, they have band, they have orchestra, and then usually most high schools have a jazz program too. That's like sort of they take players out of band and orchestra and they put them in the jazz band. And
jazz band.
I think we're in an age right now where we could theoretically see a turn where we have rock bands in school in addition to jazz bands.
Yeah.
Now, specific schools, right? Like, I don't think every school is going to do that. But if you want to get people interested in the arts, I mean, make the arts appeal to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a big thing when I was growing up. Jazz band was huge when I was growing up. That's where the kids with the real talent were.
That still goes on that way today. Still same thing. Actually, we laughed because a lot of the kids that were really talented weren't in the program at all. I can remember one band that could have been signed when I was in high school. They played the Battle of the Bands, and I just sat there and I went, not one of those kids is involved in any way in the music program here. Like, that's hilarious. They were good enough that they could have been signed, but they were not involved in the music program at all. And the music program probably would have thumbed their nose at them and been like, well, you're not traditional.
Yeah. And that was a problem at one time. And geez, you're younger than I am. It still was a problem. Where there's a traditional thing, and that's a problem in jazz right now, I think.
Yeah,
and blues too.
There's definitely purists. You've heard this term, and in both jazz and blues, both genres of music, you'll meet people who are like, in fact, I had a run-in with a guy who was in an open mic, and he was an acoustic purist for blues guitar, and it's like, honestly, not even just blues guitar. He saw that I had an electric guitar, and it was like, why would you bring an electric guitar to an open mic? And I wanted to be like, why would you bring an acoustic guitar to an open mic in a bar? And like, I was like,
yeah, exactly.
That's coffee house acoustic, a coffee house open mic. It's not the same thing. Like, you bring what you want, you play what you want. Shut up. You let me do my thing. I'll let you do yours. I don't care. I don't want to hear your crap. I don't want to overhear your crap. Just shut up.
Exactly.
I don't know. Yeah, I've been dealing with some disrespectful people at open mics lately who are just like, oh, well, he doesn't sing, like, so. It's like, shut up. Can't you just enjoy music for what it is? Does it have to have a vocal? Like, are you that screwed up that you think that music is nothing but a vocal? Like, go away. Nobody wants to hear your ass.
Because it's their poetry reading.
Poetry reading. They're reading somebody else's goddamn poetry. You want to come to an open mic and you want to bitch about people not having vocals, then don't sing fucking cover songs. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Let's compromise.
Yeah. There it goes. There goes our PJ13. Oh, have you heard about this? So YouTube.
Oh, I had to go in and I had to go in consent that we're adult only. So yeah,
we already did that. We don't care. So, and we're not monetized on YouTube anyway. But the COPPA thing is a big deal. Where now a lot of these other channels, not ours, obviously, they're getting in trouble because kids are watching them because they play to kids. We don't do that. We don't pretend to have cartoons. We don't pretend. We are for adults. But I just thought that was funny when you did that. But so as we come to an end.
Yeah, we're nearing our end. The show will be ending on January 1st, 2020.
And then we start season 4. Can you believe
season
that?
4. We started season 2. We're not to episode 200 yet.
No, we started in 2017.
Yeah, we're almost on year 3. Almost to year 3. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Almost to year 3. So
we doubled our listenership this year, so I can't complain. I'd still like to see it higher, but
yeah, we're growing. We're grassroots. But let me tell you something. For a 3-year-old, for a 3-year-old podcast, I think we're doing real well. And you know what's funny? So I went into because my iPad doesn't know I'm a host. I'm a practical guitarist, right? So I go to my iPad and I pulled up because I was starting to listen to podcasts on my iPad in the actual podcast app. And I went in to search for a guitar podcast. We came up. You know what channel didn't come up? And don't say it out loud.
That one.
The channel. Ours
I know which one didn't.
Ours did. The one you're wearing a shirt for. Can you believe that?
That's surprising.
I
thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be those other guys.
No, those guys didn't either. I'm just saying. Just thought that was weird. Obviously, Brian Wampler came up, and
to be searching for a guitar podcast and come up next to Brian Wampler's podcast is pretty damn impressive to me.
Yeah, we came up with Brian Wampler and a few other people. I was just surprised because, hey, we're in there. We're in the running.
I'm looking right now. I want to see.
Because I usually listen to stuff like, guys, just to let you know, I usually listen to like Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
NPR, all these other
things. I listen to the Occultist. I listen to some weird stuff, man. I like the that's what I like about podcasts is like the variety. You can find stuff that you're just like, wait a minute, what? That's a thing?
Yep. I listen to books on tape, which is not books on tape anymore. Obviously, it's books on digital. But so I've been listening to Steve Lukather. I'm almost done with Steve Lukather's book. Dude, that guy had some hard time.
Yes, he did.
Guy. And some sad stuff go down. That he found his mom. That was a lot of stuff is really sad about the way that things went down for him. Really, I recommend his book on audio, his Audible book, because he reads it. So you can, it's more heartfelt, I think, when somebody like that reads it. But yeah, I listen to the Game of Thrones books. I mean, I listen to everything. It's just one thing after another. I always have something going on in the background while I'm doing 2 or 3 other things. And that's amazing because when people come into Guitar Center, they're like, how do you juggle all these things? You're like, you're breaking something out. You're putting price tags on this. You're helping this person. You're checking me through my checkout. You're doing this how do you do that? I go, actually, I'm not doing it as well as I'd like to, but yeah, I'm doing it.
Jim, we have 3 1-star reviews now.
But we have, did you see the latest? Oh, and lastly, let's read those latest reviews. I just want to read the last 3 reviews.
Oh, I don't need to get sick of that.
Actually, well, I'm going to read them because I thought they were very nice. So, on the Practical Guitars, whoops, I don't want to play it. No, stop. How do I get to our site? It brought that. Oh, here we go. Here's our site. Okay. And I want to get to bloop.
We have more
information.
We have 3 1-star reviews and we have 15 5-star reviews.
Can you see our latest reviews? They're written down.
So most helpful. Hang on. Most recent. So Worship Guitars to 85 writes, these guys help change my perspective on guitar playing and gear. Jim and Dave are humble dudes who tell it like it is. They don't sugarcoat anything. I highly recommend that every guitarist should check this out. I appreciate that very much. And that is some sycophantism because now I have a big head. It just got the fact that we have like 75 people listening per episode that my head just got so big. It was like, that's bullshit.
That was September. Yeah, I don't care. September 3rd. In May, I didn't see this one. The guys have a good program with interesting topics for the guitar and gear enthusiast. And then in December of last year, hey, if the show was a lobster, would you definitely eat it? So why not listen?
Yeah,
I like that. That's pretty funny. They do a great job of keeping banter going and do lots of open-ended topics that keep you sitting on the end of your seat. This is a 5-star show. Give it a go. That was really nice of people. I really appreciate it. So I don't really care about the 3-star or the 1-star ratings. I appreciate those too. I appreciate every rating we get. I appreciate
if you're a regular listener to this show, I would highly recommend, and I would love for you. If you don't support the show via Patreon, that's fine. Like nobody's upset at you or anything like that. Go write us a review. Like that's bare minimum. That helps us because we get people finding us in search results more frequently. We have more reviews, more downloads, etc.
That's probably why, because we have, for the size we are, we have a relatively good percentage of reviews.
Well, I say 75 listeners. We have more listeners than that, but it's some of them are sporadic, and so it's hard to gauge how many listeners we actually have. But what I really want to do is like I want to spend 2020 growing the show. So if you got friends who haven't heard us, who are interested in guitar podcasts and stuff, or maybe they're just regular podcast listeners, like turn them on, tell them to go check us out. The other thing is join our Facebook group. If you're a listener and you're not in our Facebook group, if you regularly listen to the show, I highly recommend you come and join the club over there. We have a good time. And of course, you can, if you feel so inclined, you can buy stuff from us in our Threadless store, or you can, give us money on Patreon. But
which reminds me, I need to get a sweatshirt from our Threadless store. But I just want to say also that we would love to have some people throw us some topics. I mean, every week, we come up with stuff during the week, but if you've got a topic or if you'd like to come on and discuss something with us,
I want to have Mike Merrill on soon. I want to talk about common jam band chord progressions. So like you go to an open jam, what you're going to come up against more frequently.
Yep. Yeah,
you've been called
those
out,
are a
Mike.
lot of fun. Yep, you're going to be on here, Mister. But also, because I'd love to talk to people. I'd love to have a couple of people from our local open mics as well, because the fact is that that's where you get. We've said this before. You get so much learning from going out and jamming with people, and just being able to run through a chord progression on a song you may have never played before, or do something you've done before in a different way. You're doing Margaritaville and what was the other one? The Fire song.
Fire. We do those pretty traditionally, but I mean, a lot of our other songs we'll do in like a bluegrass style, which or like an upbeat folk style. And I'm trying to think like an example. Oh, we do Don't You Forget About Me. We do that in like a bluegrass, like punky bluegrass folky style thing that actually people
almost
my brother
red dirt
hated it because he's a big fan of the original song, but we do it in a different way. It's kind of like, you ever seen the David Lee Roth thing, the Running with the Devil or whatever, which is like the bluegrass versions of Van Halen songs. Yeah, kind of like that.
Have you ever seen? Yeah, have you ever seen the one of the funniest bluegrass I've ever seen versions of a rock song was there's a group that did a bluegrass version of Thunderstruck from AC/DC that has been on the internet for years. I think from the earliest days of YouTube, and it's just incredibly funny.
I say bluegrass, but I mean by that is like we steal the rhythms from it. Nobody in our band does cross picking or anything like that. I'm thinking about learning some of that stuff just to incorporate it into what I do, because it would work really well in this context and I could try it out. But more or less, We just steal from like the feel of those things. We don't really like, none of us are trained in that or have like brought up in that paradigm. So yeah. Anyway,
Cool.
We're a minute, hour and 58, Jim. Take us out.
Well, I have been Jim.
And I have been David.
And this has been The Practical Guitarist.
For people who like ASMR.
Don't turn it down too far. ASMR.